Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to start off, as promised in my video yesterday, with what I think are the top 5 custom 1911s on the market today. Yesterday I did a video, and in that video I said what I thought was my favorite custom 1911, which was the Nighthawk Talon. But I didn't necessarily think that's the best one. I just think that's my favorite. So today, like I said, I promised I would do what I think are the 5 best custom 1911s. But I did say I was going to keep it kind of reasonable. Nothing over $4,000. Because if you want to go crazy, you can get ones made out of meteorite by famous Nazis. I'm not going to go into that scale of custom gun. I'm going to deal with pretty much, the big makers. There's usually about 4 big makers most people think of. So I'm going to do my list today of what I think are the best guns made in that category under $4,000. All right, at number 5 on the list, we have a very nice gun. And it would probably be much closer towards the top of my list if it wasn't so pricey. It's just under $3,800, which puts it towards the end of my price range for this video. But it is the Nighthawk Border Special. This gun I just think is beautiful. I especially like the engraving on the slide. I like the graphics on the slide there. I usually don't like a lot of graphics on a slide, but on this one, I make an exception. I think it looks really nice. This gun is cut for carry, meaning the back of the back strap is angled at the end so that it reduces the printing. This gun comes with Heine style, the slant style Heine sights on the back. It is a commander size gun, and you can get it in 45 ACP or 9mm, or while you're choosing your finishes and your materials, etc., you can also pay an extra $100 and get it either in, I believe, 38 Super and I know 10mm. Which I would suggest to anyone that was going to buy it, pay that $100 extra. It's $3,800. $100 extra ain't going to mean much more. If you can afford 38, you can afford 39 and get it in 10mm, a great caliber. But like I said, this is a beautiful gun, extremely well made. Nighthawk's a great company, and everything about it makes it definitely deserve to be number 5 on this list. All right, at number 4 on the list, we have probably the most elegant gun on this list. And it's not even the most expensive. It's just under $3,000. It's the next to the least expensive gun, I think, on this list. So it's actually not that bad, not that expensive, I guess, if you're looking at custom 1911s to be able to say it's under $3,000. And like I said, very refined gun, elegant gun, and it is the Ed Brown Cobra Carry. The Cobra Carry is a beautiful gun. I especially like it in stainless with that matte finish they put on it, that bead blast finish. It's just a beautiful gun. This gun is also cut for carry, just like the previous gun has that cut on the back of the frame so that it doesn't print as well, at the lower part of the grip. Just a beautiful gun. It comes with Novak style combat sights. And this is a commander size gun, although I do believe you can get it in full size also. You can also get it in blued or stainless. They do offer different options for that. And you can get it in 45 ACP, or for a little bit more money, I think it's another $100, you can get it 9mm. If you want to get it in 10mm though, it's only available in a long slide, which kind of ruins the lines of this gun. I mean, it looks good in commander size or government size, which I'll be using generically throughout this video. Government size, is a full 5-inch, and the commander is the 4.5-inch, or 4.25-inch. So keep that in mind while I'm doing this video. But like I say, it looks good in government size or commander size, but putting a long slide on it would really just kind of ruin the lines of this gun. And this gun's just such a beautiful gun. This is the gun you need on you if you're wearing a 3-piece suit to work, or you're in a tux, or you got one of those gold chains with your pocket watch in your vest. If you don't have those kind of things, you'd look underdressed with this gun. So this gun, like I said, not only is a really good, well-made 1911, but it is so refined and so beautiful. Love the snakeskin scaling that you can have on it for the serrations. Just beautiful gun. This has been one of my favorites forever. Just never have gotten around to buying one. Never had the money when I saw one, and never saw one when I had the money. But like I said, awesome gun, and definitely deserves to be number 4 on this list. All right, at number 3, we have a gun that I have lusted after for a long time. Now, this gun's not as fancy as some of the guns on this list, but I think it's one of the most pure 1911s on this list. And it's just a beautiful gun. And the gun I'm talking about is the Les Baer Stinger. This gun is really no frills. It's not super fancy. It's got, Novak combat style rear sights. It's commander size gun, but I do believe you can get this one in a full size also. And you can get it either in 45 ACP, 38 Super, or 9mm, but I do not believe there is a 10mm option. Now, Les Baer is probably the least savvy as far as marketing of the major custom 1911 makers, but he really makes a nice gun. It's just solid and clean. Just a beautiful gun. And the Stinger's no exception. This is a gun I've lusted after for a long time, since before I could ever possibly afford to get one. So it's been quite a while I've been looking at this gun, but still, like I say, never bit the bullet and bought one. Even though it is probably the cheapest of the bunch here. This gun comes in at under $2,500 unless you load it up with a lot of extras when you're ordering it. It's really cost effective as far as custom 1911s go. And like I say, if you like your guns, your 1911s kind of like true to the original, kind of simple, no fanciness to them, just clean American craftsmanship, like professional craftsmanship, the Les Baer might be one for you. And since it doesn't have a lot of extra fancy bells and whistles, it's more affordable too. So all those things together combined, that's why this gun definitely deserves to be number 3 on my list. All right, the gun at number 2 on my list is the only government-sized gun I have on this list. And it is the Nighthawk Trooper. Now, you can get this gun in different finishes, different materials, but I like it in just a clean, dark gray blued kind of coloring gun that it comes in its standard configuration, because this is just a basic gun. It's just a clean, classic custom 1911. It's not quite as pure as the Les Baers, but as far as Nighthawks go, this is kind of like their entry gun. And that's why it's just priced a little over $3,000. I know, not cheap. But when you're looking at things like Nighthawks and you're looking at custom 1911s, you're not looking to be like, I want to spend $500. No, you want to spend a little money. But if you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want to get a great gun and you want something just a little bit more refined than the Les Baers, well, I think the Trooper would be great. Like I said, it's very clean, very classic. It reminds me a lot of a Dan Wesson in some ways, the way they do their clean classic lines. But it's a Nighthawk, just a step above in quality. Barely, because, I really think highly of the Dan Wessons. But Nighthawk is a better 1911. As much as I like the Dan Wessons, I have to admit, you get what you pay for with these Nighthawks. So that gun right there, the Trooper, is a great first custom 1911 for anybody out there. And for that reason and many others, based on its quality, its price, etc., that's why that gun deserves its number 2 position on my list. All right, now we're to number 1 on my list, and it's probably not going to surprise anyone out there who has paid attention to my channel for any time. It is another Nighthawk. And in this case, it's the Nighthawk Falcon. The Falcon is just a beautiful gun. I love the lines of this gun. I love how that front end is tapered. Now this gun comes with the Heine ledge rear sights. It's a commander size gun. It's just, this gun's just perfection as far as I'm concerned. And you can get it in 45 ACP or 9mm, or you can pay a little extra and get it in 38 Super or 10mm, which I did when I ordered mine. And this gun, like I said, can get it in different finishes, different materials, etc. But just basic deep blue or stainless, I think looks best on this gun. In fact, I think this gun looks really good in stainless. That's why I got mine in stainless. This gun's not cheap, though. This is one of the more expensive guns on the list. It is just under $3,800. So once again, getting close to that price limit. But, the very fact that I put this at number 1, even though it is so close to the price limit, should tell you how much I love about this gun. It's just beautiful top to bottom. There's everything about it I like. So all those things there add up, even though it's kind of expensive, they all add up to the number 1 gun on my list. All right, everybody, with that being done now, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, which everyone knows is gun talk. And I want to continue the custom 1911 theme here by answering a question I got in my live chat last night. I was asked, who do I think is the best custom 1911 maker out of the four big ones? The main guys. And three of these main guys were on my list of top 1911s, but one wasn't. The four that we were talking about being the main builders were Ed Brown, Les Baer, Nighthawk, and the only one I didn't choose a gun from, that is Wilson Combat. Now, does that mean I think Wilson Combat is not as good as the other makers? No, they're every bit as good. I just think they take their guns in a different direction. And when I'm deciding which one I like best, it's pretty clear to most people who paid attention to my list where 3 out of 5 were Nighthawk and there was no Wilson Combat. Nighthawk's my favorite. But it's not enough to just say why Nighthawk is my favorite. I need to say, why is Nighthawk my favorite? Well, when you look at custom 1911s, I think there's 3 categories these guns usually fall into. There is the guns that are more tactical. There are the guns that are more classic. And there are the guns that are more refined. Now, when you look at these 4 big makers, one of the reasons Wilson Combat wasn't on my list is because I think Wilson Combat leans far more towards the tactical guns. The response guns, the rapid response guns, the duty guns, etc., all the bells and whistles. They clearly fall into the tactical category. I'm not much of a tactical guy, so even though I think they're great 1911s, they're usually not the 1911 for me. But I know they're awesome, and for people who like the more tactical kind of look and gearing, that would probably be their favorite ones. But for me, that makes them kind of my least favorite one. Next, we have Ed Brown. Ed Brown's guns tend to lean towards that, like I said, refined. They're more elegant guns. Like I say, they look good with a 3-piece suit. So when you look at an Ed Brown gun, it falls into that refined category. He's kind of like a guy who builds a good 1911 and then he says, let's make it as pretty as possible too, and as elegant as possible, with his finishes and his scalings and his little touches. So that gun falls clearly into the refined category. And I like occasionally a refined gun, so he's probably number 3 on my list of the top 4. Wilson Combat's at 4. At number 3, Ed Brown. Not saying that his aren't as good as all the other ones, but just because of the way he thinks, his mindset when he makes a gun puts him at number 3 on my list. Now, number 2 of my list of favorite custom makers would be Les Baer. And when you look at Les Baer guns, they're classic, they're pure, they're clean. They don't put a lot of fancy stuff on them. They don't do a lot of extra. It's just going to be made perfect, hand fit perfect. And then beyond that, he doesn't do much. Stamps the name on the side of it, sends it out the door once it's functionally perfect. And visually clean too, but just not really fancied up. So he falls clearly in the classic category. And I love a good classic 1911. That's why I like Les Baer so much. And that's why he's probably my second favorite of the custom gun makers. Now, we get to Nighthawk, my number 1 favorite of the 4 big custom 1911 makers. Why do I like Nighthawk so much? Is Nighthawk more tactical? Is it more classic? Is it more refined? What is it? Well, the thing about Nighthawk that I like the most is it kind of rests in the middle. It does a little bit of the tactical stuff, but it doesn't do it like Wilson Combat does. It's clean and refined. Most of their guns are very nicely done and very clean, but they're not as clean as and pure as a Les Baer gun. But they kind of lean in that category. And they're not as refined as an Ed Brown. Like I say, they're not quite as classy looking as an Ed Brown. They step a little more outside that into the more rugged categories, the more tactical and the more classic. But they're still pretty damn refined. More so than Wilson Combat or Les Baer. So like I say, they kind of straddle that. They're kind of the middle ground. If you think of Les Baer, Wilson Combat, and Ed Brown as kind of a triangle, Nighthawk's kind of right in the middle. So that's why I like Nighthawk. It kind of has a foot in all 3 realms there. So I guess it's got 3 feet. I don't know how that happened. Tripod, I guess. But there you have it. There's who I think are the best of the 4 big custom gun makers. Depends on what kind of gun you like, which one you would probably like, because they're all awesome. But in my case, I kind of like the jack of all trades, which in this case, I think is the Nighthawk Custom 1911. All right, everybody, I want to keep today's show kind of short and sweet and not get off of the Custom 1911 theme, so I'm going to end it here. That's one way of saying this. The other way is I forgot to write down the 3rd segment here, and I don't remember what it is. So I'm going to skip it today, do a nice short video, because I don't want to go back in there and find out what I was going to say. I'd have to lift the screen, and I got to go back open the safe door. It's just more trouble than I'm willing to put into this. To be honest, it's 3 a.m. right now. I want to go inside, watch some YouTube, and go to bed. So going to call it right here, right now, and just sign off as I usually do by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could be better. And if we as a community start ignoring the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists, the people that pose as people fighting for our rights, but are really just serving their own pocketbooks and the bottom line and serving the industry moneymakers, if we ignore those people, keep level heads about us, and do what's right when we fight for our rights in this country, what things will be for people who value the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better. Man.